So today I'm going to do a video about are the altcoins bottoming, and we're going to start with the others chart. Going to be doing the weekly chart, and I'm only going to be using the Gann square for this. No other indicators, just to see if we have reached a bottom according to market symmetry. And we're going to be using the log scale charts, and this one is others, and we can see that price is trying to break back above this arc right here, which was resistance, 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 and now is trying to flip it to support. So if this is successful, then this will be support for a continuation higher and much higher in the future to 6 trillion and beyond, right? And now we're only at 216 billion. So this is looking like a really healthy correction. And if this weekly candle closes back above that blue arc, then this could be a good sign for a continuation higher. Now let's go check out some individual altcoins just to see. And the first one we're going to look at is Chainlink. Link. So Link is following market symmetry very nicely, and this one is looking like it's under a lot of resistance currently. And ever since it reached the blue level up here and got rejected by that top arc, it's been in a downtrend, right? But it did find support at this arc, at both of these arcs, the top arc and the bottom arc. It was just bouncing back and forth, right? But then finally we see right here, it flipped it to support for a push higher to the blue arc where it hit once and twice, and it has not been able to break free yet. So since this is going to be a magnet for price, I don't expect price to fall down to these levels anymore. Price should maintain around these levels for some time in order to push higher to retest the resistance of the arc to continue up back towards the top arc and the blue level around $32. So there is some resistance there. It's not going to break up into the bottom arc anytime soon. I think it's probably going to take more weeks, more months before that will happen, right? And over time, I believe price will slowly gravitate to this 45-degree angle. Maybe sooner in the future or maybe longer in the future. It's unknown right now, but we can see clearly the resistance, and we need to know that it has to break above maybe 17 or $18, or if there's more time, like maybe you're in the 16s, in order to get back into the arcs to go higher, right? So I would say $16, $17 is the target to break above. So once it does that, then it's got a clear shot for 29.30 or even up to $32, okay? And Doge is next. And you can see Doge, after hitting that blue level back in 2021, it gravitated all the way to the blue angle, and it lost that angle as support recently, which is not really that good, but it's okay because it has happened before where price does go below an angle for some weeks or some months and then goes back above, right? So it's not the end of the world, but we do know exactly where the resistance is going to be now. If we go up to the angle, it's going to be 12.5 cents, right? Maybe even 13 cents depending on time. So this is going to be the resistance. We know support so far is right down here in the 9-cent zone. And when we look to the left of the chart, we can see that there is a demand zone in that 9-cent zone. So this should hold as support. So it looks like a bottom is in, but it's not going to break above anytime soon because of this angle right here. And once there's a weekly candle that closes back above, then it'll make its way up towards the blue level, which sits currently around 45 cents. So that is the near-term target later on, but it's got to get back above that blue angle first. But if it doesn't get back above it, it could just keep it as resistance all the way up here, and maybe it can get to 45 cents in the year September 2025, right? So we'll see. We'll see what the trajectory happens. Like it could flip it to resist or support sooner, or it could just ride up as resistance all the way until the end of 2025. So we'll keep an eye on this level. And right now, my target for breaking resistance is around 12.5 cents. And next, I'm going to look at HBAR, and HBAR here is looking pretty okay, right? It lost the support of this arc right here, but it's okay because we've seen it go up and down on that arc many times. And the point of this arc is not to exactly nail it. It's basically a zone. right? And as long as price can get back above the arc, then it'll gravitate towards this 45-degree angle, where you can see this has been a major resistance ever since it broke down right here in November of 2022, and it's been a resistance ever since. And the first step is this is at resistance right now, around 0.069, 0.077 cents or so. It needs to break above that and have a weekly candle close above this. And then once that happens, then it can slowly make its way higher. And if it follows under the resistance of this 45-degree angle, perhaps it can get back to 30 cents by July of 2025, right? So there is some room to grow. It's just got to break that 7-cent resistance and then slowly make its way higher and higher. But the chart is still healthy. It's still making higher lows from this bottom in 2022. Higher low, higher low, higher low. So this is a good development for a continuation higher. We just have to break this resistance first. And the next one is Constellation DAG. And again, this 45 right here has been important. And we can see that it did lose it recently right here. It lost the 45 in April 2024, came up and got rejected, confirmed it as resistance, which means it was going to gravitate to the next support zone, which is this arc right here. And you can see ever since really right here in March of 2021, it's been very important, right? Here it was resistance, resistance, support, support. And then ever since it broke down here, it was resistance once, twice, three times, then four times right here. And then finally this bullish engulfing candle right here that was up 42% in 1 week. It just shot above the arc, and it hasn't back tested that arc since December of 2023 until now. And now we have 1, 2, 3, 4 weeks of it testing this arc. So this could hold as a nice support zone for a continuation higher. And if it pushes back up towards the resistance of the 45, if it just stays under the whole time, we're looking at maybe another 9.5 cent DAG by possibly September of 2025. So it could take some time to get there, or if some positive developments happen, it could just break back above sooner and then flip this 45 to support and then go up to that 9 cent zone earlier or later this year. But right now, we know this is resistance because we can see how important it is. So if it stays as resistance, we're looking at a slow grind back up to 9 cents possibly later next year. So nothing too exciting as of yet, but if this changes, if this gets flipped to support, then I'll update accordingly. Next is Fetch AI, and this is working out very well for market symmetry. And I was expecting this blue level to get hit around $1, but it never did. See right here, this blue level in the past, in October of 21, November of 2021. It was important, but it never got hit. So I was waiting for that level to buy more, but it never happened. And now it's battling the blue arc above. So if it can close the week back above this blue arc, then there's a potential to flip that back to support and continue higher and higher to the next level, which sits up here around $11. And before that, it could get to the arcs here around $7 or so, possibly by September of 2025, right? So it's looking like this level is 100% confirmed flipping to support. Hasn't even tested it yet, so that's an even more bullish sign with all the weakness in the market. So it's looking for to flip this arc for continuation higher and higher, but this chart looks really, really bullish. TAO. So TAO basically hit each level perfectly. Orange level, blue level, green level. That was the high. And then ever since then, it came back down to the blue level, which did not hold. And I was expecting this angle to get hit here, maybe around 180, 190 or so. Almost came up, but now it's battling the resistance of the blue level again. So is it going to break above and close the week above it? There's only time will tell, but right now it's at a major resistance zone now because you can see there is this support, flipped it to resistance. So this blue level is no longer support. It is now resistance. So this needs to break. And if it doesn't break, it's probably going to come back down and then finally test that 190, 195 zone and then move its way higher and higher back towards the green level at the 800s. But this chart is also holding very, very well, and it did not make a lower low. From this candle right here, which was a low of 192, these candles did not close lower than this candle. So therefore, this chart is very, very bullish still for continuation higher. It's just battling this resistance zone around 265 right now in order to push higher and higher and higher. And the next one is Alchemy, ADS, and this one is following market symmetry so perfectly, where this 45-degree angle held straight up to this angle, was resistance, then straight back down to the 45 to test it again as support, right? So clearly we see where support is, and now it's probably just going to be a slow grind back up into the teens, into the 20s and 30s and beyond, right? So even though it's had a steep decline, it's still a very, very bullish chart and very good for momentum to keep going. And as long as this 45-degree angle holds, price will continue higher and higher and higher. So I really, really like this chart. And the last one I'm going to do is Quant. And Quant is following market symmetry as well, as they all do. Orange level was hit, then the blue level. That was the maximum height. And then back down to this angle where then it went back up to the orange where it's been going as support the whole time until recently. Right here, it finally broke that support and then continued lower. And now it's at the orange arc, and it couldn't even hold the orange arc with this 10% down bearish engulfing candle. Here, it then flipped the arc to resistance. So this chart is looking kind of weak, right? It can't even get back up towards the arc right now, which kind of sits around $75. But if it can flip that arc back to support, then I'm not going to worry about it. But if it can't, then price is going to gravitate towards this 45-degree angle, and that's in the 50s, right? Whether it's down in the low 50s here, or if more time passes, it'll be the high 50s, right? We don't know yet, but I really want to see within the next couple of weeks flip back above to this arc to support. And then once that happens, it'll get back to the 95 zone, which has been a very, very long-term important level. And then once that 95 can get flipped back to support, then it's going to battle these arcs again. And you can see how important the bottom arc has been too. It's been resistance right here, right here, right here, a long time. So that's going to be resistance in the future, maybe in the low 130s or so. And then possibly by this time here, maybe if it follows like this angle all the way, it'll get back to the previous all-time highs maybe in November of 2026, right? So that could take some time because this chart is looking pretty weak. But if things start to explode sooner, we can maybe update or upgrade that time to a little bit sooner as well. So it all depends on what happens with this arc and with this level. Like if it can't break these resistances, it's going to go to the 45, and then it'll find support to finally continue higher. But this chart is looking pretty weak, right? I don't see any explosive moves happening anytime soon. And the soonest right now I see $400 is maybe November of 2026. So overall, it's looking though like the altcoin market in general, just based off these coins, based off the others chart, is looking pretty bullish. Like even though some coins like Quant are losing some support levels right here, they're still making higher lows from the bottom, right? So it's not really that bearish. It just means that these coins that are losing some support right now, it's just going to take a lot longer for them to get to the previous levels that you once saw in the early days in like 2021 or so. So just have some patience, guys. It's looking like most of the pain is going to be over soon, but I don't see any really significant push higher until Bitcoin finally breaks out of that range.